On this episode of the Procedurally Generated Show, Tony quests for dragons and Ethan quests for cooler dragons. We talk about the week's biggest news and answer your questions. Well, howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Procedurally Generated Show. I'm your host, Tony, and joining me this week, I've got Ethan.
I wasn't sure if you read that before I typed it in on there or not.
I saw it before, yeah. So
I was waiting for you to say something about it, but you never did.
You've probably found cooler dragons than me, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So what's been going on?
It's been a week, man. I went to a baseball game.
Yeah, you did. You sent me pictures of a baseball game. I assume they were playing Tulsa?
Springfield Cardinals.
Oh, darn. That would have been better if they were playing Tulsa.
It would have been the reverse situation of what you got to see. So, yeah, that would have been cool,
Yeah.
but that's not it.
Okay. I took the kids to see Toy Story today.
How was it?
It was awesome.
Cool.
Like, that movie was fantastic. I was worried going in because I thought they're going to ruin the story because I thought 3 was the perfect place for them to just end it and be done with Toy Story. I thought that was a great ending for that series, but
it's never over.
they did better. I'm really hoping now that this is the end because they've done some stuff that it's going to be hard to bring it all back together if they make a Toy Story 5. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I haven't seen 4. I've seen 3. 2
Okay.
and 1.
4 was really good. I was quite surprised with it. It ended up being a great movie, and it looks fantastic. Like you can tell the technology has come a long way since that franchise first started.
Came out the first one came out in '95.
Really?
So that would make me. I was 10 years old.
Yeah, I was 15. I can't believe it's been that long. I thought that was a 2000s movie.
No, I do recall being in the grade school building, and we had to watch it for something. And it's like, well, I can't complain because I'm not in class.
Yeah. Man, okay. Wow.
Honestly, I think it's just one of those days where all the teachers couldn't put up with us anymore. And like, just let them watch a movie while we don't do anything.
I remember those days.
It's amazing how now you can kind of pick up on what when the teachers don't want to do their jobs.
Yeah.
As a kid, you're just going with the flow because you don't know any better.
Yes, no class today. We're watching a movie. I can remember being able to. We had a day like that when I was in 5th grade, I think, and we watched The Mighty Ducks.
Good movie.
That was a good movie. I think that was the first time I'd seen it too, and I really enjoyed that movie. So, those were the days. So, but we're not here to talk about movies. We're here to talk about some video games, and both of us have been playing the same video game this week.
Not together.
Unfortunately, not yet. We're trying to get there.
Because someone's lagging behind.
Sorry, Payday fell on the wrong week this time. Yeah, we're both playing Dragon Quest Builders 2. I think you talked a little bit about this last week.
Yes.
I have put a few hours into it now this week.
I put less hours into it this week, but I put hours.
Yeah, you have to wait for me a little bit now so we can do that multiplayer stuff. But apparently, I have to get like 15 or 20 hours into the game before that unlocks.
15 if you're really, really rushing it. 20, I would say, would be casual, and if you're just being a little more perfectionist than most people, I'm going to say 23 to 25.
Yeah, I'm not rushing through the story at this point. I am sort of trying to take my time a little bit and enjoy it. I want to get to that multiplayer stuff so we can do that, but I don't want to, feel like I'm missing a lot of stuff on the way to getting there.
That's fair.
But yeah, so I think this is a huge improvement over the first game, and I'm just a few hours in, and already this is going to be very high, I think, on my favorite games of the year.
Yeah, just I mean, the first thing you're noticing right away is it's not overwhelming like it was in the first one, and they've made stuff go a lot quicker as well. Like you just running around with your sprint meters,
Hmm.
a big improvement because the first one was just, all right, I'm gonna go that way. It's gonna take a while.
It's going to take a while. Yeah, I'm hoping that I do get the ability to increase that sprint meter, but I know there are going to be other ways to travel. So the sprint meter is going to be sort of a moot point at that point.
It does increase as you level up. I have added 2 extensions to it so far.
Okay. Yeah, I just got to the point where I have to go find the third of the five different types of seeds that I need to find.
Oh, you're doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty good to do.
I beat the first sort of boss rush type thing where there's
Mm-hmm.
waves of enemies that are coming at you.
Yeah,
And now I
you're getting near the end of that section, but
okay, yeah.
it's gonna take a bit.
Okay, yeah, guys. I've opened up the bog area where I have to go, and I just got uh, sugarcane seeds. So I've got to go get two other types, and then increase my farmland apparently a whole lot because I've only got about half the spaces that I need because I think I need 250 squares of farmland on the farm.
You need to
And
be able to raise at least 250 crops.
yeah, so but yeah, so far this has been hugely improved over the first one, and not just in the quest lines, because they're throwing a lot of quests at you, just boom, 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 boom,
Mm-hmm.
right here at the very beginning of the game. Um, but it all feels like it's building towards something. They're giving you a chance to sort of do it at your own pace because you can do that, but you can go and focus on something else if you want. Like farming, if you aren't doing any of the farming quests, you can still go and do some of that. You can go explore for um, stuff that you need to build things. And I do like the way that they're adding to your recipe book for the things that you build as you gain more and more people that come into the farm area, um,
Yeah,
and then you
you'll
can
gain
make
a You'll gain essential recipes. I'm gonna call it.
yeah you gain a lot of those recipes just as people show up, and then as you complete quests, you'll get those. But then once you get a bunch of those new villagers, you ring the bell, and it levels up your farm, and you get like a dozen new recipes all right there together that will let you add cosmetic type things to the rooms that you have that you're building.
Exactly.
Um, I do like the ability to go straight into first person now instead of having to trick the camera into going into first person like you had to in the first game.
It's really nice having that function on there, but at the same time, it's you get in that first person mode and you're just like, this is Minecraft.
Yeah, it's not perfect still, even in first person. There's still some jankiness and some difficulty trying to see what you need to see sometimes, but it's better than it was in the first game.
it's it's extremely helpful when you're inside an enclosed area like a cave, because that camera gets a little strange inside the caves because just how
Yeah,
it interacts with the collision in there, and so sometimes you're just looking directly at your back because it's zoomed in on you when you went in, and it won't zoom out or anything.
hmm yeah. And another thing that I really like about the game is that even though you're playing by yourself, you don't feel like you're by yourself. The villagers that you recruit are more useful this time around than they were previously, whereas they would just wander around in the first game. They're actually doing things now. Like if you're gone, they're tilling up the soil or doing some of the farming stuff, and then you've got your friend who is wandering around with you and is actually going out and finding materials on his own. So, if you hit a particular type of stone, he'll go off and find another stone of that same type, and harvest that while you're doing something complete on a completely different part of the map.
Well, he doesn't stray far from you, so.
No, he doesn't stray far from you, but he will get out of view of you to go and do something that you think he needs to be doing at the
Yeah,
time.
but then he'll just teleport in front of you later.
Yeah. And then it's really handy to have him around when you're fighting monsters.
Did you find the giant enemy crab yet?
I have not found a giant enemy crab. I've found some crabs, but I haven't found a giant one.
Oh man, I need to send you the the cheese for when you find that guy. He's a very tough fight. He's a super monster.
Yeah.
Oh man,
So is there an easy way to beat him like there was the green dragon in the first game where you could kind of just bury yourself under him and he couldn't get to you?
I did not know that. I just
Yeah,
toughed it out and kicked their butts.
in the first game, if you dug under him, there was a way that until he did that attack that sort of broke the ground around him, you could actually get under him and he couldn't hurt you while you're hitting him for 1 point of damage every few seconds.
Guess technically you could get under him, put the stone, whatever stone he can't break down, and
In
then.
theory, yeah, that would potentially work. So
No, the I want to say it's you go south into the swamp area and then head east. No,
okay.
west. Sorry, and you'll eventually come across this big green crab, and he's on like a lifted up little piece of area in the ocean, and he'll summon a bunch of little green crabs. Just lure them off the platform that he's on because they can't jump up there, and then you get up there and he's gonna target either you or your friend.
Hmm.
And in my case, he targeted me, and then he did his shield deal that he does, and he won't let up until like the little crabs are dead. So the shield's only in the front. Someone has to stand him back and damage him.
Nice.
So it's just all right. I'll stand here. You do all the work.
And because you're not killing the little crabs, they don't ever disappear, so he keeps the shield up.
Exactly.
So,
Did that
uh,
completely by accident too.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I encountered him. He was too tough. Came back a little bit later. He had all his little children with him, and I hopped up there real quick because I was just running by, and he targeted me, and then just didn't untarget. And just like, this is weird. Okay, let's do this. And
okay.
got
I have
to
some.
got
Go ahead.
to got the recipe for the turtle shell armor from him.
Nice. I have some concerns about our friend though, because
Yeah,
he has
you're
the.
you're familiar with the lore, so I don't know this stuff.
I am. I'm not going to mention too much, but I do have some concerns about where the story could potentially go. So, uh, it should be interesting. And even early on in the game, there are some things that he's mentioned. You're like, wait a second, some stuff sounds a little strange.
Especially on your first meeting with him, he says that one thing. He's like, "Come over here, look at this." And you're like, "Okay, oh God, why?"
Look at all these dead people.
By the way, this one's not dead. Oh, okay.
So yeah, the game so far is fantastic, and the music is really really good. Um, I am like you though, using the music cues to find out where the edge of the village is, so that I can
hmm
mark that and know where I can build. Um,
Music, and then also your town rating meter, whatever you want to call it. That's on that left side of the screen as well.
yeah, and it disappears when you're out of the town.
Yep.
So yeah, so it's really handy because in the first game it was really easy to tell where it was, and in this one they sort of disguise it a little bit. Um, but yeah, this game, I see where it's going and the things that I'm going to be doing, and there's going to be a lot of fun times, fun building projects. I think with this game as it goes on.
Oh man, whenever you get the multiplayer unlocked, you need to come see my Island of Awakening.
Okay.
Right now,
Uh,
you climb up the side of this little hill. It goes into what I'm calling the apartments, You go
Okay.
upstairs from there, you got your kitchen and barn and shower and toilets. Then you go up another level, it's a farm. So it's just kind of like the worst order of building everything.
Well, you have to be like a master architect if you want to have this thing laid out, or a city planner if you want to have this thing laid out in a proper way. Um,
Well, I mean, I had to go with vertical building because there was no good flat area to start building on, and everywhere has monsters, so
mhm.
it took some planning.
I do like when you first load up the game that whatever theme is going on, they have this job. It's not really a job board, but it looks like a job board where you
The
can go and see other things that people are building.
Yeah, people will post pictures of whatever they're. Uh, they'll use the photo mode to take pictures of what they're building or doing or playing around with,
Mhm.
and you get these great little things. There's supposed to be a theme that it matches up with.
Yeah.
I think the other.
Right now it's kitchen.
Yeah, I was gonna say last time I checked, it was kitchen, and all I'm seeing is like someone standing there smiling right next to the signboard that you first encounter.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much
You
been
can
the only thing I've seen every time I've seen that.
while the game is loading, you can scroll through those pictures and see different ones.
Hmm.
By hitting, if you hit the plus button, it'll scroll through different pictures.
Okay.
Um, so you can see different types of things. And some people are, sticking to the theme. One person I saw, they took a picture of themselves in the shower. Um, in game, not in real life. Uh,
Yeah, there's no way to actually do that kind of photo on there, as far as I know.
no. And then you do see some where you'll see all of the characters. They've built a big long, like, first Thanksgiving type long table, and they're all sitting there with their plates of food in front of them, and they all look at the camera. Because any character, anytime you've got the camera mode turned on, their heads focus on you, and so if you move around, you'll actually see their heads following you.
You can
So
adjust where
so they're always looking at
their
the camera.
viewpoint is as well, and such. I think,
Yeah.
or change their expressions or whatever.
So yeah, the game is just fantastic. I loved the first game. This one, head and
You said
shoulders.
it was a Thanksgiving dinner type thing.
That's what it reminds me of. Is like you always see those pictures of the first Thanksgiving with the big long table that's just covered in food.
Sorry, I was watching a comedian, John Mulaney, what?
Yeah.
And he was talking about, I think it's his wife. She might have been girlfriend at the time on whatever, and they were talking about the Last Supper
Oh yeah.
and something about there being a turkey, and his wife is Jewish, and he's like, "Did you say turkey?" She's like, "Yeah, they're sitting in front of the Jesus has is in front of the turkey." And just he's Catholic, she's Jewish, and it gets into this conversation. It's like, "What do you think this is?" And she's like, she didn't want to say it, but she thought it was Thanksgiving.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
mean, are you sure it was Thanksgiving and not the Last Supper?
I mean, it may be. I don't know, but I remember seeing Native Americans and dudes in black hats with white bands around them, and uh,
Wow,
they all
they
looked
must be
very.
a lot further in the game than me.
They looked very no, not the the thing I'm thinking of. The picture I'm thinking of
Oh,
is people with like Native Americans and pilgrimy type people. Uh, so
I haven't unlocked that outfit yet.
yeah. Uh, and I forgot when I started the game that I had let my children design and name my character from the demo.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I turned it on and I said, "Yeah, go ahead, import my save. I'll use it. Whatever. I don't want to have to go through that tutorial section again." Um, my character's name came up on the screen. His name is Nug because when we first started playing the demo, we were eating chicken nuggets, and I let my two smallest children name the character, and they named him after a chicken nugget. So,
You do get the ability to change how he or she looks later.
oh, I don't care. I'm gonna play with.
As for the name, I have no idea if you can redo that.
I'm gonna play as Nug for the whole game. Uh, so, is there anything else you want to talk about Dragon Quest Builders wise? Because I'm gonna be playing this game for weeks now, so this may be all I talk about on the show for a month.
Just be sure to do the extra mini islands you have to pay to unlock later on.
Okay.
By pay, I mean use the heart resources you get from your village, not the villages that you're building on the other islands.
Okay.
And go there, do the research so you can get unlimited resource of whatever it is you're unlocking at that time.
Okay.
That
I will.
that helps tremendously with anyone that comes to help build on your island.
Okay, I will keep that in mind.
So it's like if you came to mine, you'd have unlimited wood, fiber, uh, cord, and something else. So it's really handy.
Okay. I will definitely try to remember that. Um, but that will be that. So let's take a quick break, and we will come back and we'll talk about the news. All right. Well, we just have a couple of quick news stories here to talk about. Ethan, the first one is a release date. And
Really,
it is the most important release date of 2019.
Metal Wolf Chaos coming out August 20 something.
Well, you broke the news.
I've
No,
actually forgotten the release date of that.
I don't know when the release date of Metal Wolf Chaos is. You'd have to look that up because I have no idea.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, I am referring to the release date of Luigi's Mansion 3 because Nintendo announced when the game will be available for purchase.
August 6th, Metal Wolf Chaos.
Okay,
Because
so
that's the one people really care about, right?
that is apparently the one that everybody cares about. Um, I would argue that Luigi's Mansion 3 is a much more important game.
Eh.
It's the one I'm going to play. I'm not going to play Metal Wolf Chaos. So,
Blasphemy.
so no, Nintendo this week just stealth announced that Luigi's Mansion 3 will be available on October 31st.
October 31st.
That is Halloween Day, sir.
But that's not a Friday.
No, it is not. They are breaking their traditional Thursday or Friday release, to put out a game on a Thursday.
That's crazy talk.
It is a little bit crazy. But I guess it makes sense because Luigi's Mansion 3 is the spookiest game of the year. So, what better time to release the spookiest game of the year than on the spookiest day of the year?
Guess I'll need to pre-order that too.
So, oh, you know I will be.
Uh, I'm just swimming in pre-orders right now. They're everywhere.
And when I told my wife, she's like, the kids don't need to trick or treat that day, do they?
So
So,
what'd she say?
oh, no, that's what she said. She said,
Oh, so she
that
was on
it
your
is,
side for that. Okay.
yeah. But Luigi's Mansion is a big deal in our house. So, um, no, we will still be trick or treating that day. We just might cut it a little short so we can come home and have an evening of Luigi's Mansion.
Who's your second player gonna be?
Well, that's a good question. Andrew has already asked, but I don't know. We
Well,
shall
since
see.
he's asked.
um, I'm hoping we can do some of that four-player stuff, but I don't know if that would be unlocked from the beginning or how far into the game you have to get to do that stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, that is definitely my most anticipated game of the year. I cannot wait for Luigi's Mansion 3 to come out. Uh,
Excellent.
And one thing I may have to do before that is buy the new Switch that Nintendo announced this week.
Hmm.
Because Nintendo announced a new revision to the Switch. In addition to the Switch Mini,
Okay.
that's the one they've already talked about. But this week they also announced that they will be releasing a new version of the standard Switch that uh, will increase the battery life. What they're doing is they're putting in newer versions of the Tegra chip that's in it. They're putting in smaller versions of that will use less power, um,
Okay.
and allow you to get better battery life out of the system.
So this is a big overhaul on the original system, keeping it mostly the same but better battery.
Yeah,
That's good.
the only thing that's changing is the battery life. So
Because I know they did a revision on the system a while back to make a certain internal hack impossible on the Switch because it's pretty easy to hack into the eShop and get access to various things that you're not supposed to
yeah,
because of a certain chip in the one of many millions of Nintendo Switches out there that were launch day exclusives.
hmm yeah. So this new version of the Switch will come out in August, and they're using Breath of the Wild as their sort of benchmark for
Battery
battery life
life.
tests, because it's a pretty intense game in as far as graphics and processing an open world. Uh, and they say that the current Switch right now will get you about 3 to 3.5 hours of battery life playing Breath of the Wild, and they say that the new one will get you about 5.5 hours
It
of
doesn't
portable
sound like
play.
much of an improvement, but when you're running the Switch on max settings, I mean,
Two
you're
hours is pretty good.
yeah, that's at high settings. You turn that screen brightness down, and I guess turn the Wi-Fi off and do some other things on there.
Mhm.
You,
They're
you
saying you could get 7 to 7.5 hours of
I
battery life out of
thought it was up
this.
to 9 hours, wasn't it?
Let
It
me
was like
see. Let me
six to
just make
seven
sure.
hours at base settings, and then the new one was like not up to 9 or something, whatnot.
I'd have to find a different news story. The one I'm looking at doesn't have the full range
Oh man, I
of
don't even
battery life.
remember where I looked at it at now.
The one I had heard was like 7 hours, but I could be thinking about the Switch Mini. But regardless, it's a pretty significant upgrade in terms of battery life. Uh, so if you're in the market for a new Switch, you've got coming out in September. Is that when the Switch Lite comes out? Yes, September
uh,
20th. It's the same day as Link's Awakening, September 20th.
cool.
So you've got the Switch Lite coming out in September, or you've got the new version of the current Switch coming out in August. The price will stay the same; it'll still be $299. So they're not dropping the price for or anything.
Wait, it comes out the same day as Luigi or not Link's Away.
Link's Awakening.
But there's not a Link Awakening version of the
There is
Switch
not a
Mini.
Link's Awakening version of the Switch Lite. No,
Missed opportunity, Nintendo.
I agree. I agree because I might have been convinced to buy one of those. Uh, so yeah, that though is going to be it for the show. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about before we head out.
Let's talk about some Dragon Quest. I've heard of this game before. I don't know much about it.
Okay, which Dragon Quest you want to talk about? We've got a few you could choose from.
Yes.
Let's see. You got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Not 10 because that was only Japan.
Mm-hmm.
11. Um, you got a whole bunch of Pokemon style games. You got the mystery dungeon games, which I would love for them to put out a new Tornico game.
Gosh.
So much. That would be amazing.
Just been a
Uh,
lot of Dragon Quest talk the last couple of weeks. So
You got the Dragon Quest Swords, which was on the Wii, which was a terrible game, but you know it's a Dragon Quest game. There was the DS Lite turn-based strategy game in the Dragon Quest franchise.
There's the slime game.
The Rocket Slime games.
Yeah. It's like if I was going to play one, that would probably be one I would go out of my way to get if I was really, really invested in the series at this point.
We could mention again that they really need to remake Dragon Quest IX on the Switch because they talked about that last week, and now I want it to happen.
I wonder what graphics set they're going to use. Like, are they going to...
I don't know.
And getting footage for that game was really hard to do, by the way.
Dragon Quest IX?
Yeah, I couldn't find any good footage and finally found some. I was like, well, this doesn't look good, but it's something.
Being a DS game, it's hard to get good footage that's not blown up for bigger screens.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know what they do. They'd probably do something like the Dragon Quest 11 2D engine for that. Except it was a sort of 2.5D game and not really a straight 2D game. So, I don't know.
I don't know. They might be able to just drop that into like I don't know. Maybe they have someone actually working on like an actual 3D engine or something that's not crippling down to work on like the DS.
I don't know. My one the thing that sits at the top of my wish list right now is a remake of 1, 2, and 3 in the Dragon Quest Builders engine.
Man, that
is what I want to see.
That would be like a place for me to start playing as well because it'd just be adorable to see.
And it would tie into the releases of Dragon Quest Builders because you could have those games and you could just play them back to back. You could play Dragon Quest, then play Dragon Quest Builders, Dragon Quest 2, Dragon Quest Builders 2, and then Dragon Quest 3. And then that means they have to make a Dragon Quest Builders 3. So that needs to happen.
Okay.
I would love for that to happen so much. But yeah, that is going to be it for the Dragon Quest show. So
Dragon Quest show.
Thank you for joining.
You're just going all in on that now, right?
Oh, that's what we're just going to change the name to the Dragon Quest show because that's all we need to talk about is Dragon Quest.
We talk about roughly one Dragon Quest game a week.
I'm okay with that. We've got a lot of games to choose from. We're just going to start at the beginning and do Dragon Quest for the next 15 weeks.
And somehow I sneak Blue Dragon into there.
Hey, anything Akira Toriyama. We can talk about all the Dragon Ball games.
I was about to say.
We'll change it to the Akira Toriyama show and mainly talk about Dragon Quest, but we'll throw some other stuff in there.
And then he'll never be on the show.
Oh, that would be sad. So, well, thank you very much for joining me on the Dragon Quest show today, Ethan.
Yep.
If you want to reach out to us, we have tons of new ways to do so. You can email us at podcast@procgent.com. That's PROCGENT.com. You can send us a voicemail if you want by clicking on the voicemail link on the right side of the website. You can send us voicemails up to 90 seconds in length, and we'll play those on future episodes of the show and respond to the questions that you have. If you like what we do here, you can now support us on Patreon, patreon.com/pgint. Patreon supporters will get a video version of the podcast a day early. These will normally go out on Tuesdays. Patreon supporters will get them on Monday. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/progenint. Check out our YouTube channel that we've got and see the content we've got going on up there. And then we still do have the Facebook group where you can interact with us on a daily basis as well.